This cemetery here, Bethel Union Cemetery out in, I think it's, where are we again? Creemore, or I don't know, something like that. Anyways, it's not too far from home at all. So there's a story out of this spot right here, and it's all woods here. There's actually a creek over there I just saw when I was driving past here. I'll be coming back to check this place out when it's more accessible, but there's a story out of here, and it says enormous wolf-like entities charge marijuana harvesters near Bethel Union Pioneer Cemetery in Clearview Township, Ontario. I can't see the writing in this light, but I'll read the story later on. But I read it earlier. There was these two, I guess, dogman-like creatures that came charging at these guys. I think the story said basically within just a few feet of them. Like, one was right in the guy's face. You know, obviously scared the hell out of them. You know, that would terrify anybody, right? But it doesn't surprise me that, you know, there's stories like that out of, especially when there's woods everywhere, as there is here. There's a creek running through there. Yeah, I really have no interest in pursuing anything else. Well, actually, sorry, I can't say that, because I have been doing some C5 meditation, and we did call in that cigar-shaped ship, flew right over top of us. You know, I was with a former cop at his cabin. You know, so I'm all comfortable with doing that. I'd like to, you know, I'd like to come back out here. I'm sure there's probably Sasquatch activity. You know, what I've learned, anywhere there's basically a good-sized patch of woods, you know, is a possibility. There's something interdimensional going on in those woods. I was hoping I'd be able to get in here a little better, but there's too much snow. There's no trails. I would like to come back here at night, you know, even just to hang out in the road for a bit late. Anyways, it's an interesting story. I'll read it. I'll read the rest later on. Okay, I'm just sitting in my car here, so I'm just going to read this to you. So, in October 2017, a late-night harvest south of the historic Bethel Union Pioneer Cemetery turned into a terrifying encounter that left 4 men shaken and forever changed. What began as a routine cash crop retrieval unfolded into a confrontation with massive wolf-like beings charging through 8 to 10 foot corn at impossible speed. The witness believes the event was connected to the cemetery's troubled history and the strange blue flashes that preceded the attack. I received a telephone call from a nervous man who I'll identify as RM. He was hoping to find someone willing to listen to and consider his remarkable encounter. RM and 3 other men were attempting to harvest a marijuana crop planted in a cornfield at night in October 2017. The corn that year stood between 8 and 10 feet tall. With the feed corn harvest about to take place, it was time to pull the cash crop. The field was located just south of an old cemetery, the Bethel Union Pioneer Cemetery, situated along Creemore Ave in Clearview Township, Ontario. The guy said, we got into the field and fanned out. I was furthest to the right. Straight ahead in the distance, I saw a blue flash of light that originated from the cemetery. It appeared to be 10 to 15 feet off the ground. Then I heard a loud crashing thump, as if something heavy had fallen. A few hundred feet to my left, the same thing happened. A blue ring-shaped flash of light. These creatures tore out of the trees and into the cornfield at an incredible speed, faster than any living creature I had ever seen. They moved supernaturally fast. Whatever they were began to bluff, charging at us three or four times and stopping just outside our line of sight, maybe 2 or 3 rows of corn away. They were as big as grizzly bears and as fast as race cars. They moved between my friends and myself. Then I saw the head and shoulders of one of them. It had a large, wolf-like head with pointed ears and broad shoulders. The head had no neck and was situated directly on the shoulders. It was a terrifying sight. I guess so. There was no doubt in my mind as to what I'd just seen. It was only 10 feet away at most. Just then it charged at me from the front and left, while my buddy's dog came in from the right. I almost shot the dog, who was losing her mind at that moment, whining, whimpering, and shaking profusely. At that point, I started praying to Jesus Christ, and instantly the 2 dog-like creatures, or whatever they were, turned and bolted back into the cornfield toward the cemetery. Afterwards, my friends and I regrouped, and they mentioned they had also been charged. The guy who had driven us there claimed he saw it too. I told him I had as well. I continued praying as I looked in the direction I had seen them run off. We still had a serious job to do with thousands of dollars in the field to harvest. We finished up and prepared to leave. However, they doubled back around on us. While my friend and I were struggling to drag a large blue tarp along a tractor access route, we passed a large bush. One of the creatures was right there. My friend screamed, "There's a wolf!" As I looked up, I saw it running like a man on 2 legs. The creature ran about 10 feet into the woods and stopped dead in its tracks. My friend and I were ready to go, and he asked, "Is it coming back to get us?" I started praying out loud again, but nothing else happened. We managed to drag everything to the car. Since it was a small hatchback, someone had to stay behind. Oh, geez. I thought, this is great. There was something seriously wrong, and it seemed only prayer kept it at bay. My friends didn't know I had been praying, so I felt that one of them was in danger if I didn't stay. I believed the Holy Spirit was protecting me. I felt it strongly. So the dog and I stayed behind and spent the next hour on the road while she whined and cried in panic. I was praying and holding my ground. I noticed one creature pacing back and forth behind the embankment at the field's entrance. Another beast was on the opposite side of the entrance road, hidden behind a huge blackberry bush that hung over the ditch, no more than 10 feet from us. The dog was so distressed that I thought she might have a heart attack. Every time I see her now, I know she remembers that night. She gives me a look and starts to shake. Since that day, she has formed a strong bond with me. I have never been so relieved as when I finally saw the headlights coming back over the hill, and maybe that hill right there in front of us. And my friend pulled up to get us. It felt like we had been waiting forever, but in reality, it was probably no more than an hour. When we got back, my friend said, "Did you see the size of that dog, bro?" I just replied that I didn't want to talk about it. Then there's a note left here by the website creator. I believe this incident was linked to something regarding the cemetery. Established in 1855, it was considered one of the only integrated cemeteries of its time, with black, white, and indigenous peoples all buried there. It remained active until 1940, but fell into disrepair by the 60s. Prison inmates were used to clear away the debris around the site. However, it fell into disrepair once again by the 1970s. So he's also got some notes here. The report contains several hallmark signatures seen in aggressive upright canine encounters across North America. Patterns of behavioral traits. The creatures displayed classic intimidation tactics, including bluff charging, flanking maneuvers, and stopping just outside peripheral visibility. Their size, posture, speed, and deliberate pacing at the field edge mirror other cases involving wolf-headed bipedal entities. The two blue ring-shaped flashes hovering 10 to 15 feet above the cemetery are unusual and notable. Similar luminous anomalies have been reported immediately before manifestations of cryptid canines and ultra-terrestrial entities. The cemetery's layered history and repeated cycles of abandonment may have made it a focal point for liminal energy. RM exhibited severe fear, steady situational awareness, and a consistent spiritual response. The dog's extreme psychological distress reinforces the presence of non-human intelligence emitting overwhelming energy. Possible origins: a combination of speed, size, bipedal locomotion, sudden appearance following aerial light phenomena, and immediate retreat in response to prayer suggests a phenomenon that may straddle the boundaries of cryptid biological manifestation and interdimensional incursion. The cemetery link adds weight to an ultra-terrestrial or boundary-crossing hypothesis rather than to a purely zoological explanation. You think? Similar multi-witness upright canine encounters have been recorded in Wisconsin's Bray Road corridor, Clearview and Simcoe County rural zones during the 1990s. Several Ontario cases involving light anomalies followed by large bipedal wolf-headed entities. Pennsylvania and Maryland flanking charge events that match this behavioral pattern. This encounter fits squarely within the broader dogman and cryptid canine phenomenon documented throughout Canada and into the United States. Crazy. So that incident happened right here. Like I am right there. So yeah, I'll be coming back here.